very interesting challenge you have here with this big game.
Absolutely. All of our games present a big challenge as far as connectivity goes, but nothing's quite like the Super Bowl. When you add all the fans along with all the amounts of media, etc., it definitely creates a challenge for connectivity.
I want to take you back in time, all the way back to 2008, the last time there was a Super Bowl at the University of Phoenix Stadium. And it was a very different technology world. The iPhone had just launched, it's a few months old. There was no Instagram. The best-selling phones in the world were made by Nokia. It's a different tech world now. What do you do to take these stadiums that aren't so old already and rewire them?
No, you just have to work really hard to make sure that they're continuing to reinvest in them. And if you compare to 2008, what connectivity we did have was primarily focused on download ability. So if you wanted to do something, you downloaded it. And now we see fans, as you said earlier, creating their own content and wanting to publish that themselves. So that's all about upload speeds. So that's what it's all about, is just making sure that all the clubs, particularly when you're hosting a Super Bowl, that you have the latest and best connectivity from a Wi-Fi pervasive throughout the whole bowl, as well as a strong DAS system for all carriers.
I remember when Mark Cuban bought the Dallas Mavericks, and he told me he was going to wire all the seats in this new American Airlines arena, and it sounded really crazy. It's interesting, but he was leading that. The NBA was not doing anything in that regard. Talk to me about why the NFL is trying to create some sort of Wi-Fi standard for its stadiums and what that standard is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think if you look across, as you just mentioned, across our stadiums in the country, they're in varying stage of age, or some have been recently opened, like the 49ers new stadium that has the latest and greatest. So for investment purposes and planning purposes, we wanted to make sure clubs knew what the base standard expectation would be, and that's primarily to make sure our fans get what they want. They want to be connected. We know that the at-home experience has gotten amazing. It's awesome to watch a game at home on your sofa and surfing the net and getting all your data. But we know the best place to watch an NFL game is in an NFL stadium. So we want to make sure fans aren't at a disadvantage from a data and connectivity standpoint. So that's why we thought it was important to make sure all clubs understood that there was a minimum requirement, and then work very hard through many partners to help them get to that standard.
Michelle, I've been looking for someone to blame for the crummy 49ers season, and it occurs to me maybe I can blame you. And here's my thinking. The new stadium, well, yeah, because the new stadium, the Levi Stadium, is a lovely place. The food's terrific, and the Wi-Fi is spectacular. But after halftime, no one's going back to their seats, and the stadium's quiet, and the home field advantage isn't happening. And I wonder, seriously, how you think about putting the butts in the seats as opposed to having this great experience of being at a place that may or may not involve the game.
You know what, that's a really good point. I think at the end of the day, technology should be about augmenting the game experience and not replacing the game experience. So we do not only give standard connectivity guidelines, but we also work closely with all the clubs to make sure the in-stadium experience creates an awesome game experience for fans and for players that are on the field. And it obviously plays much better on television as well when fans are in their seats cheering and not in line somewhere else or doing something else. So I think it is a calibration that has to happen as you go along, and making sure that you do keep the game at the center of the attention and not get too carried away by all the cool devices and things you can do.
Yeah, I was up at the Seahawks CenturyLink Field this year as well, catching a game up there, and those fans are so passionate. It's just an amazing experience and so freaking loud. It was incredible. But I wonder, you know, when you meet with these teams, how does this integration happen? You say you work closely with them. What form does that take? Are there CIOs of every team as well?
Yeah, there is. Each team has a leader of technology and usually a leader of game day presentation. That's a producer of sorts that produces the live game day presentation in the stadium. And so there's a good bit of coordination that goes on between the technology that's available along with what will happen. So using the Super Bowl as an example, we've programmed things that will be happening within the Super Bowl that's well coordinated with the in-stadium app that we just have released that'll be ready for the Super Bowl 49. And that coordination has to be tight because it should enhance and augment the game experience. At the end of the day, we don't want people looking down on their small screen to watch the game. We want them watching the game on the field and then augmenting that experience with their devices. So it does take a bit of coordination.
Yeah, I'm hoping there will also be some Wi-Fi enabled scales so we can weigh the footballs as well for this weekend. NFL CIO Michelle McKenna-Doyle, thank you very much. What an interesting story, and I can't wait for the game this weekend.